Welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. This is actually quite a special one because in my opinion this game here, International Superstar Soccer Pro 98, in my opinion is probably the best soccer game that was ever created for the PlayStation, as it was just very authentic looking and even feeling, and it was so intricate, and it was one of the few football games where you felt like you had full control over the likes of the players, how they moved, how they dribbled the ball. Now, it's not to say that it was easy. It definitely presented a very good challenge, especially on tougher difficulties, but this was a really excellent and quality game. And in my opinion, me personally, it's still my favourite soccer game that I've ever played, even to this day. Mainly due to the fact that it was the one soccer game where I actually did dominate for a long time, where I could actually win a ton of games against my mates. We used to actually play tournaments in this game at the weekends. We get a lot of mates around, we play like World Cups or European Cups or whatever in tournaments, and we pick a team each and try to get through the group stages, and we used to have so much fun at them. We'd always get so far, so we might be get lucky where one of or two of us might actually be able to win it. But 9 times out of 10 was usually always the case where we'd always get to like this quarter or the semi-final. But what we used to really do is we just play games one-on-one, and we used to just kind of like stay like the winner plays on, which in my case it actually was the case where I was winning that much that I was playing for a long time. But then I suppose back then as well I was super competitive. I just wanted to win every single game that I played against my mates. I wasn't happy with just even drawing a game. I wanted to win every single game, and I had gotten the hang of it that much that it actually to a point that even some of my mates, especially my mate Mark, even to this day I still hold the record against him. I don't even know if I should even be saying it because he'll probably come back to bite me at some point, but he still has never beat me in this game, even to this day. Although I'm sure now at some point if he sees this video he'll issue a challenge towards me, and he probably will beat me, no my luck. But yeah, this was such a fun game, very addictive. That's the one thing I will say. And I remember even, because we used to play with this like on a wee small 14-inch CRT monitor that we had like in my bedroom, and we'd have a load of our mates around. Or if my parents went out, say for a night at the weekends, we would take the PlayStation down and put it on the big 21-inch TV we had in the living room at the time, so you could probably just get it, play it better with the bigger TV. And it was fantastic. We could have about 10 or 15 of us, all our mates all calling around, and every single one was wanting to play a go, and 9 times out of 10 I was the one usually beating everybody. Not to sound like I'm bragging, but I was very lucky at the game too, because I had an awful habit of scoring in injury time. No matter what game I was playing in, the chances are I would, especially even if I was losing, there was plenty of times where I nearly did lose games, but I would always score an equaliser or score a couple of goals in injury time, 9 times out of 10. Even go back to my mate Mark, who tried endlessly to try and just win against me so many times. There was times where he nearly did. There was one or two particular games where he did get me down to literally penalties, even down to injury time, and we were going into extra time, and of course I was scoring the last kick of the ball, and it just drove him crazy, to a point that he used to actually get so ticked with me that he'd actually start hitting me and everything, and I'd be there laughing at him, because I just love winding him up, because I kept beating him all the time, because he tried, and believe me, he tried, but he still couldn't beat me, no matter what he did. It was so much fun, it really was. Like, we played this game for a long time, myself and my brothers, my mates, and yeah, like I have 4 brothers, but not all of them, 1 or 2 of them didn't really play it too much. Martin never really played it, he was never really into it, but Stephen and Damien would play it, and they were very good at it as well. And my mates then, Derek and Mark, and pretty much Mark used to get bet pretty much by everybody, which was so funny. It was hilarious. Like, that's why I think I always kept beating him anyway, and just always making fun of him. But we used to have so much fun playing this because it was so addictive. We were always in competition with each other. And tell you what, we scored some amount of crazy goals in this game. You were scoring from everywhere, like. even on games where you didn't think you'd get anything, you'd be scoring screamers from outside the box pretty much anywhere, to a point that it was absolutely insane, like playing in tournaments and that. And even my youngest brother Eamon, how we originally played this was we actually had a demo from one of the PlayStation magazines that we used to get, and he only played like one half of a game, and it was Brazil versus France, and we played the hell out of that demo. And that's usually how we actually started, literally becoming addicted to the game. So eventually, when we had enough money, then we eventually bought the full game. But we got so much fun out of that demo, it was crazy. Even to a point that my youngest brother Eamon, at the time, now this is going back a long time, and Eamon was only about 8 years of age at the time, and my brother and Stephen, he was a few years older, he was 14, and Eamon actually beat Stephen 1-0. But how he done it was he actually scored the goal from the halfway line. He literally from the kickoff just went bang, went into the net, and Eamon was that lucky that he actually was able to adapt to the game, and he was very, very hard to beat because he was so awkward. And he actually beat Stephen, and Stephen just went crazy. He actually just went, he battered him just because he couldn't take the beating. And it was so funny. I remember him coming out and screaming, "I'm only at the beating Stephen, I'm only at the beating." And then when Stephen showed me the replay of it, because we kept the replay running to see the goal, and we're like, oh my god, how the hell did he manage that? It was just, we were in doubles laughing. And even to this day, we still throw that dig in on my brother because, you know, just for fun, because he's always reminded of it, and he's always kind of like, chill, don't remind me, leave me alone, you know. So it's just, yeah, just that's what I'm saying. This game was just really had that ability to kind of, you can have so much fun with it, but at the same time it could leave you just for six. It'd knock you out, like literally just things would happen in the game that you just know that it would always come back to you, that you'll never forget about it. It was absolutely hilarious. Even another example, a few months later after that, when we eventually actually bought the game, and going back to when we were saying we used to play tournaments and that, we played a particular tournament during the World Cup, and there was a good few of us around the house and mates and so forth, and we were all playing the game, and there must have been about 10 of us actually playing it. I remember my folks had actually gone out for the nights, we had the house all to ourselves, and all we wanted to do was just literally play the PlayStation. Back in those days, that's all we were interested in. We were just interested in just playing video games, and we all just loved to play the PlayStation, because for us it was what we had, was what we knew, and the games were really incredible. Like I do mention in all the videos, just it was so brilliant and unique, and each game just got better and better the more we played it. But as we played the tournament again, my youngest brother, he was only like 8 years of age at the time, and we played through the entire tournament. Some of us got knocked out in the group stage, some of us got to like the quarter-finals, some of us got to the semi-finals, but none of us bar Eamon actually got to the final. And the funny thing is, Eamon actually won the entire tournament without even scoring a single goal through normal play. He just kept getting the penalties all the time. How he actually got out of the group stage was he actually drew every single game 0-0 because he couldn't actually score a single goal, which is incredible. I never even heard of it before that it could even be possible. He literally drew every single one of the group games, was the 3 games he had, 0-0, and results just happened to go his way. And of course he qualified, and then the same thing again, got to the quarter-final, or got to the knockout stage, drew that game, won on penalties. Quarter-finals, drew that game again, won on penalties. Got to the semi-final, the same thing again, drew that game, won on penalties. And he got to the final, and the same thing happened again. Every single game that he played, he didn't even score a single goal throughout the entire tournament. And it's not like he wasn't trying, he actually was, he just could not score. But he wasn't conceding goals either. So and that in itself is a record, because I'd never heard of anyone actually ever been able to do that in any football game. That's why this game was so much fun, because it would throw up so many curveballs, and there were so many cool things that just happened. And like the experiences that not just myself, but say friends, family members and so forth, we all had a blast playing this game, even though it was tough, but we definitely had a blast. I will be honest though, in order for me, because I know I used to win a lot of games, I would always usually pick Brazil. The reason being is because Ronaldo was always the best player in the game. He was the quickest and he was the easiest to use on the ball. You could dribble with him a lot better than most of the other players. It's not to say the rest of them were bad, but he just was pretty much the best player in the game. Because you can almost guarantee that you would score a goal or you'd set someone up for a goal once you had him playing. It was so much fun. It was hilarious. I remember even going back to even playing some other football games on the PlayStation, like FIFA 98, Road to World Cup, and I did enjoy them, but they were harder to play, even though they were definitely a lot more like arcadey in terms of how they played. But there was so much more button combinations to be able to do simple tasks. This here was more of a simulation. It felt more realistic, but even though it did have arcade kind of feel to it at the same time, but you had more free flow with the players and how you could actually use them. Whereas like with FIFA, in order to get in the sprint you had to keep tapping the triangle button, which sometimes could be a nuisance and you'd be exhausted from playing it after a while. Whereas this here, I think it was just you held R1 and you could just get the player to run. So it definitely made it a lot easier. Once you got used to the button combinations, it made it all worthwhile. But I found that when I played this here, once I played other football games, and I had played, like I said, quite a few and I enjoyed them, but when I played this here, in my opinion, after that then there was no comparison. I know they've done later games like International Superstar Soccer, Pro Evolution or ISS Pro Evolution 1 and 2. They were pretty much direct sequels of this here. Now they did change the game mechanics. The gameplay felt a little bit slower, but they tried to make it more realistic for each variation that they did later on. But for me, it just didn't have the pick up and play appeal that this game actually has, and even it still has, even to this day, like 20 or so odd years on, it's still as good today in my opinion as it's ever been. And right, it'll take a few moments if you haven't played it in a while, but once you get into it, you're up to speed in no time. As you can see here by all the goals I've scored so far, it doesn't take long really to kind of get going. You just get familiar with everything and you can learn how to play through balls and one touch passes and, like say, scoring goals from outside the box and just scoring absolute screamers. Which back then growing up, I loved football anyway growing up, so we were always in a football household, so we would always be out playing football out in the street with our mates. So that's what we used to spend a lot of the days doing. If we weren't actually playing the PlayStation, we were out in the street playing football, or over in the big football field we used to have across the road during the summer months. So we were always surrounded by football. So to play something like this that felt so real was just icing on the cake, pretty much. So it was a fantastic game, and still is, in my opinion. Like I said, for me it's my favourite football game of all time. It still is for me the best one. I know games have become more refined over recent years with consoles in terms of graphics, you know, licenses having access to usage rights and player names, face likenesses and so forth, but nothing beats the simplicity of actually having a game like this here where literally you can just pick up and play and just go for broke and just have a good bit of fun. And like I mentioned, we played this game for a long time. We have so many good memories back in the day playing this here, and like I said, that goal there is an example of some of the fond memories that we actually would have had, because we scored plenty of goals like that. And I remember all of us actually, anytime anyone scored a screamer like that, the controller would literally just drop on the floor and everybody would be jumping around screaming, you know, couldn't believe what they were saying. Like, we just totally enjoyed the whole experience, like every time we played the game. I mean, like, we used to play the game even against the computer. In fairness, it was good and it has presented a challenge, but we always found that we got the most fun out of it when we were playing amongst our friends. We play tournaments or one-on-one games and so forth. Even to this day, some of my friends, whenever we meet up, we usually always have a few games of the more recent Pro Evo games, because that's essentially what we know, like, and we still have a bit of fun. Now, we're not as good as we used to be. The games are harder to play, but we still have a good laugh. Like, we definitely won't score 6 or 7 goals in those games, not like the way we might have done before. No, that doesn't happen anymore. But no, it's still awesome game, awesome experience, and I highly recommend that if you haven't played this here, especially if you love football, definitely, without a doubt, pick this up or try and find a way to play it if you can, for sure, because it's just absolutely awesome. It really is. So if you have any experiences in this type of game or even similar football games, or have any fond memories, be sure to let me know down in the comments, because I'd love to hear from them. And also, if you have liked this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button, make sure to leave a like on the video, also drop a comment down below to let me know that you've subscribed to the channel also, and I'll respond to each of your comments, as it's an awesome way to engage with the community and to share our memories and so forth of these fantastic games, because this is definitely something that is worth talking about, because the PlayStation was such an epic console back in the day. So until next time, make sure to keep those gaming memories alive.